This video is sponsored by my patrons on Patreon. If you like my content and would like to join the ranks and get some pretty cool perks alongside it, the link is in the description below. If I were to ask you to throw out the name of a creator that embodies the essence of YouTube, who do you think you would choose? From the small group of people that I asked before I started recording this video, I got a good pool of answers, with highly respected creators with a long tenure on the site being the connecting thread amongst the names in the pool. Philip DeFranco, Jenna Marbles, and Rhett and Link were common answers that I feel just so happen to also be exemplary for the term that I'm about to use. These are some of the staples, proverbially, of YouTube. Now, what do I consider the qualifications for being a staple of the website? Well, as I previously said, they have to have always been well respected through their at least decade of experience creating. And if they were ever to quit making videos, it would be comparable to a sports legend retiring, which Jenna Marbles perfectly exemplified last year. They're well received by almost every type of YouTube audience member, and they're highly praised by, and sometimes act as inspiration for, their peers. There's just this universal feeling that the site would definitely be worse off without them, as they've managed to succeed and progress in their field without really changing their shtick. And I can't think of a better example to head this category than JacksFilms. Now, this is the part where I would usually go through the backstory of the person the video is about, but I feel like there's no need to do that for Jack. He's been making videos on YouTube for a decade and a half, and I don't think I've talked to a single person who actively watches videos that does not know the name Jack Douglas. With over 4 million subscribers, he doesn't have as hauntingly huge numbers as the names that I mentioned before, with the largest having 16 million more followers than him on the platform. That being said, he seems to be as big of a household name as the rest of them, and manages to come off as just as organic and genuine. How does he do that, you may ask at this point in the video where I will start describing that? Well, JacksFilms is one of the most interesting cases of internet stardom that I've ever seen. As I said, he is one of the faces of YouTube. There's no doubting that. He's consistently made the rewind lineup, which means they view him as marketable. He's hit the trending page multiple times, which means they view him as marketable. And he's had his own show and tour dates, which means everyone else views him as marketable too. The hitch here is that the natural path that most YouTubers take when they reach that level of success over a long period of time, which is generally trying to take your talents to a bigger platform, whether that be hiring a production crew or signing onto a YouTube Red show, if they still even have those. Yet, Jack has managed to cement himself as a legend in the YouTube history books, and just like 15 years ago, it's just him and his camera. Sure, he's managed to evolve from sketch comedy along with the platform and create some absolutely banging series along the way, but at the end of the day, he hasn't really abandoned that essence that he had during his original time on the site. You know, that essence of being the people's champ in an environment where he's surrounded by people trying to bolster themselves. To this day, his audience plays arguably the most important role in his content, as he gets the questions for Jackass, the answers for Yai, and the misspellings for YGS in the comment sections of his videos or off of his Twitter. You could say there are other creators out there that do the same thing to involve their audience. So what's the difference with Jack? Well, aside from being one of the first people to really start integrating audience participation into their content roughly a decade ago, he also does it in a way that doesn't seem like he's simply relying on his fan base for content. Sure, the jokes from the comments are the crux of the comedy, but he manages to add on to them very well and provide commentary in either said add-on or the delivery that he uses when reading the comments. Speaking of the audience, I truly don't know many other people who have a healthier rapport with their audience than Jack. They constantly make fun of him, but in a way that comes off as a teasing that he is definitely a part of. Yet whenever he's wronged in any way whatsoever, they will 100% be serious and have the entirety of his back. There was a tweet where Jack mentioned that in a recent video he did with his wife, there were multiple comments about her weight, so much so that she asked him to take the video down. First of all, why are we still making comments about women's weight in 2021 on the internet? Second of all, in the comments of that tweet, there are thousands of people coming to his defense and sending supportive messages to the couple. It's like Jack's audience has managed to hit the sweet spot of understanding the emotional tonality to take based on the various emotional situations a creator can be going through. And aside from that being a natural progression, when the audience has been following the creator for a decade and a half, even further enforcing the bond that they have with him, I truly think that's actually his doing. Another thing that I think makes him such a staple of the platform is that I think everybody loves him. Well, almost everyone. Looking at you, Trisha Paytas. He is beloved by the edgier side of the site, and he's friends with people like iDubbbz and Chad from Anything for Views, but he's just as much loved by the clean side of the site, with friends like Jarvis Johnson and the Smosh crew. I think this is perfectly exemplified by his Mega Kids Bop quiz, where he manages to bring in people from every single corner YouTube has to offer. During the quiz, it's also very clear that none of them are just showing up for like a collaboration. They all, even the people who were in bigger groups, wholeheartedly seemed like they wanted to be there and enjoyed their time participating in the quiz, which I think is one of the ultimate testaments to Jack's character and presence on this platform. He's reached immense success, but he hasn't isolated himself from his peers and audience, which is what I have seen a lot of YouTubers from his era do as they rise through the ranks. The problem with doing that is how you get out of touch, which is something Jack has never managed to do. The newer side of YouTube and the meme culture that comes along with it is something that I've seemed to notice a lot of the OGs aren't particularly knowledgeable about. They tend to stick to their own little bubble, and while they definitely do find success in that bubble, they simultaneously take themselves out of the loop and become immediately less relatable to the people who are watching them. The people I mentioned at the beginning of this video, as well as Jack, are heralded at such a godlike stature because of their ability to not disconnect. Jenna Marbles making videos about watching TikToks, DeFranco talking about the news going on with the site every single day, and Rhett and Link keeping up with the latest trends in their content are all great examples of how they've managed to stay this relevant and retain the pure level of respect that they have. Just like Jack, they're not portraying themselves as anything else than, as he would say, assholes talking to a camera. Normal people who are just making things that they want to make and appreciating their audience as much as they can. It's a weird balancing act of knowing the position of power that you're in with such a large viewership, while not letting your ego inflate to a point where you lose all of that hunger and creativity that you had while you were growing your channel. And I think Jack does that better than anyone I can think of. Also, this isn't a major point or anything like that, but I do need to take this time to acknowledge Jack's musical talent. The way that he's incorporated vocals and rapping into his YGS series, and just his channel in general, is pretty flawless. It also works because he actually has a good amount of vocal talent and songwriting ability, to the point where he could probably make good comedy music, which is one of the hardest genres to be competent in. Another thing that puts him in that category of staple is his insane standard of consistency. If you showed me his channel without the name and the views and just focused on the upload frequency, I would be inclined to believe the channel was by someone who's grinding to make YouTube their full-time job, not someone who has been at the head of the food chain for as long as I can remember. It's not like the content is stale and forced either. Every video has effort and creativity put into it, and for someone who uploads almost daily, that is unheard of. So at the end of the day, what was the purpose of this video? To be honest, I just wanted to talk about Jack. He's been someone that I've watched since the beginning of my time on the platform, and I don't think he gets the recognition that he rightfully deserves. He's a man of the people, a man of his peers, and a man that will go down in the books as one of the best YouTubers to ever do it. Now all we need is the Emoji Movie 2. Please, if Sony Pictures Animation can put out Spider-Verse 2 and Emoji Movie 2 in the same month or the same year, I will be eternally grateful. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, you can like, comment, and subscribe. Any combination of the three will do. I would like to give a thank you to my patrons, Weston Katecki and Carl McGee, and my producer, the BC Film Reviews. If you would like to support this channel, since most videos are demonetized, and get some awesome perks along with it, my Patreon is in the description, as well as my Twitter, where you can reach out and we can connect. Thank you once again so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Goodbye.